Bad smell, poor infrastructure and tadpoles have left many South Africans distrustful over the quality of their drinking water. This is based on an online survey conducted by WaterCAN, an initiative of Outa. It found that more than 45% of people do not trust the quality of the water that they drink. So let's talk about it more with the WaterCAN Manager Dr. Ferial Adam. Doctor, thank you so much for your time this evening. I mean, first of all, I think the big question is, what am I actually drinking?
So that's exactly why we did the survey, because I think we've heard of people around the country talking about there's something wrong with our water, but there's no tests done. And what we're saying through the survey is that municipalities need to be more open and transparent about what people are drinking. So you'll get some areas like Johannesburg where our water's fairly okay, but in some other parts you just can't drink the water.
Where are those places that are most vulnerable, and maybe even the provinces that are most vulnerable, where we actually can see the state and the condition of the water by just opening the tap? Where do we have those vulnerabilities?
So it's hard to tell the quality of the water just by opening the tap, you know, because you've got to test the water, because you can't see E. coli, for example. And in places like as close to us as Hartbeespoort Dam, you know, that area, you shouldn't be drinking the water from the tap. In places like Makanda, now that we see Nelson Mandela Bay, where they're nearing day zero, there are lots of places around that where people can't drink water. But also, if we look at the Blue Drop report that government released a couple of months ago, I mean, that in itself tells us that in many places in South Africa, we actually need to have more alerts about the drinking water that people are getting. And that's why we did this campaign, because we're not getting those alerts.
You know, we're not getting those alerts. It speaks significantly to the lack of transparency that municipalities are communicating. And I have to wonder then, where is the problem? Is it the municipalities that don't even know the condition of the water that they're supplying? Is it because people do not know their jobs? Or is it people are just choosing to keep the quality of our drinking water a secret, which in itself should be a human rights violation? I should know the type of water that I'm drinking.
Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly why we're doing this campaign, is that it's all of that. And municipalities will say, no, but they're testing, and they send the results to the National Department of Water and Sanitation. And some of that information is put online, but that doesn't help the ordinary person in the street. You know, we need to know from our municipalities at a local level, what are we drinking? If you can buy a bottle of water and it can tell you the percentage of calcium, the percentage of magnesium, surely we need to know that about our tap water.
I think right now, is it true that South Africans are moving more towards boiling the water before they actually drink the water, just simply because of the distrust that they've got?
I think that's part of the thing, is that people don't trust, so they don't know. And in some places, you may not need to boil your water. But it's always good to filter your water. It's always, it's not harmful to boil your water. But the thing is that it's because people don't know. And that is why we want to get a network of people on the ground, citizen science, to test their water so that people know what they're drinking. But we also want to hold municipalities accountable. They cannot get away with just saying, well, boil your water. But why must I boil my water? What have you done that's wrong? What have you done that's not correct? And we need to hold our local governments accountable for that.
Speaking about holding them to account, does it also speak to the infrastructure of our water, well, our water infrastructure, for example, our pipelines, which have been said to be aging pipelines. So then we find ourselves in situations where the water is even coming through filters that perhaps even have got rust, just because of how old this infrastructure is. But what role is the aging infrastructure actually playing in the quality of water that we're getting?
It's playing a very big role, because it's also resulting into a lot of water losses. And I think the issue is we didn't just find out about the aging infrastructure today or yesterday. This has been a discussion that's been happening for years, and we just haven't acted fast enough. Our fear is that the situation with our water is going to be even more dire than what we're experiencing with electricity right now. And that is why we need to be concerned. I mean, scientists have said that in South Africa, we will only have enough drinking water and clean drinking water until 2025.
That's in 2 years' time? Or 3 years' time?
That's around the corner. And that's because so much of our water has been allocated. We are losing water through leaks. We have climate change. So all of these things, and if we don't deal with this as an urgent matter, we're going to end up 3 years from now saying, oh, how did we get here?
You know, the problem is with this conversation as well, Dr. Adam, is the fact that the message is not getting to the people.
Yes.
And the message is not getting to the people who need to hear it the most.
Yes.
And we are speaking here about how water could be a scarce resource by 2025. That's now, right? So you have to wonder the secrecy within which this is being handled. How can we allow it to happen? How can we allow this kind of secrecy? Because 2025 is literally around the corner. And are we all going to act in shock and horror when we get the message that, sorry, guys, actually, you need to either start buying water. And by the way, not everybody can buy their water and can afford it. Or we need to start now implementing infiltration system or filtering system within our water systems.
So, yeah, that's exactly the concern. That's why, and we're saying this, and you're reading this a lot more, is that some of the solutions we need is not going to come from government. We cannot rely on local government as much as we think we can. And it's why ordinary people need to get involved. We need people to be the eyes and ears on the ground, to notice these changes. I mean, if we didn't do the survey, we would not have known that some people found tadpoles in their tap water.
Oh my gosh, I kind of
so
I mean, stopped being a news anchor for us a little bit because it's just that, oh.
We can laugh about that, but I mean, can you imagine opening your tap and
then you find
that?
tadpoles, oh my
And there
gosh.
are people who are getting sick because there's high levels of E. coli in their water, and the municipalities are not telling them. But we need to create that network so that citizens, we can figure out where are the hotspots.
Yeah.
We're not going to solve all of these issues in one day, but let's identify the hotspots and start fixing them step by step.
I have a very quick question for you, and that is, how then do I start testing my water? What must I do?
So we're developing with a laboratory, where a laboratory in the Free State has developed this very small testing kit that ordinary people can use. It's for drinking water, right? And we're just starting out with it. We're testing it out. We're working towards the 18th of September, which is World Water Testing Day, and we want people around the country to test their water. We don't sell these kits, but they are sold by this laboratory, right? And this testing kit tests the basics: pH, alkalinity, hardness, phosphates, nitrates, nitrites, and E. coli. So that kind of covers a lot of the quality of drinking water in South Africa and what our standards basically would need. So it's an indicator test, and that can tell you instantly, you know, what's happening with your drinking water.
Dr. Ferial, trust me, I'll be the first one to be lining up to actually get that purchase, because as you're saying, tadpoles in the water system is something that I cannot even fathom. But thank you so much for your time and for the insights that you've given us this evening there. We've got WaterCAN Manager Dr. Ferial Adam. Can you believe it? People not trusting their water. 37% of people actually not trusting their waters. More than that even. Ooh, still ahead for you though.